Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Millennial Mrs. podcast. I am your host, Trinae Watson, and I am just so excited because we are here and we have the Faith Reid. Okay? Clap it up, clap it up.
Marie. For little old me.
Yes, girl. I have had the privilege and honor of seeing little Miss Faith grow up. From being little girls in at church at Bethel AME, sitting on the family row and running around with Shalon
All the
to
things.
all the things, Mama Lasson and everything, to you being this amazing woman in adulthood and you being your mama's best bestie, like me being my little mama's bestie. So I love everything about it. So for those who don't know who you are, please tell us all, tell the world who you are.
One, Trinae, I want to say thank you so much for having me. Like to see how life has just evolved for us both, from going to the pews to living in our purpose, the whole thing. I am just number one, so proud of you. And I'm so
Thank you.
excited to be here, just watching your accomplishments, passing the bar, being a wife, a mom, a millennial missus, all of the things. You
Thank you.
inspire me. So I'm so happy to be here today and talking to you and your entire audience. So my name is Faith Reid, as you all know, and I am a homebody. I am a public servant. I've worked in homeless services for 10 years. I am an author, a new blogger. I am a lover of family. I am an auntie. I am a preacher's kid. I am just a woman that loves to travel and a woman that's living my life to show people that it is never too late to begin again. So that's a little bit about me and who I am and what I do. I'm currently in school to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling. The goal with that is to start my own private practice. And so that's the journey that I'm on. I'm a counselor in training and I'm going back to school full time.
I love it. So when are you starting school full time?
So I'm already full time. So I'm going
Oh,
online. We are 10 weeks on, 3 weeks off. It's in quarters. So yeah, I'm multitasking, beginning again, living my life, getting an education so I can do what God has called me to do.
I love that. So when you think about your upbringing and you being a child, what was the life that you envisioned for yourself at this age?
Wow. I envisioned something a little different for myself. I am 33. I thought I would be married with children, and I am not, but I am actually okay with that. My life has taken a pivot, um, and I'm appreciative of it, and I'm grateful for it. And I don't even think I ever really saw myself outside of the light of being a preacher's kid. And I think that kind of identified me for a really long time. And I tell people and other preachers' kids growing up that this is not your identity. It is not all of who you are. And so it's important for you to create your own identity. And I talk about a lot to people about controlling your own narrative and how important that is. And so as my life kind of shifted, as I thought like by 25, I would be married with kids and doing all of this, I realized that I have my own identity and I have parts of my mother that are just like me, but maybe I may not be exactly like her, and that's okay. And I carry parts of her with me, and I've been able to write my own books. I've been able to travel. I've been able to blog. I've been able to live and also have the freedom in my singleness to support my sisters, to support my friends. So yeah, life looks a little different, but I'm happy with it.
I love that. Now, did you ever feel pressure? I know when I was growing up, especially when I was getting older, I felt the pressure of, oh, I need to be married, I need to have children, I need to do this thing, and I need to do it right.
Yeah.
And so, have you ever felt the pressure? And if so, how were you able to navigate it? To stand on your own, to say, I'm not going to go this route, or I am going to go this route.
Yeah, I think the one time that I started to feel pressure was around the time my sister got married, and that was in 2014. I can say that my parents, they never really pressured me on that kind of thing. They've always just been like, do what you feel called to do what you love to do, and do it well, and you will always have our support. And I think that pressure just came from the outside. I remember when my sister, I think the Sunday after my sister got married, I was in church and this man was coming around giving his offering, and he looked at me. He said, "So when are you getting married next?" And I just got a whole lot of questions, and I was just like, "So because my sister is doing it, I'm supposed to do it?" Like, and feeling like I was left behind and all of these things. Mind you, at the time, I think I was maybe like 23,
That's what
22.
I was about to ask you. How
Yeah,
old were you at
I
that
was,
point?
yeah, I was still very young, but at that age, you think like, oh my God, I should really have it all together. And you get these pressures from the outside, and I had to be like, snap out of it, baby. Like that is my sister's life. That is her marriage. I am proud of her. I am happy for her, and I'm okay too. I was at the time, I think I was 1 year away from graduating college, so I still hadn't finished my college degree. I didn't have a degree with my name on it yet, and I was just, leaning into the pressures and not feeling good enough. And I think that's where a lot of people say comparison can be a thief of joy. And it
Yes.
was stealing my joy from such a joyous time for, our family, and realizing that I'm okay. Marriage and children, it may be something that I want, but it doesn't define me. And if it doesn't happen right now, it'll happen in time.
I love that. I think that I like to believe that people mean well when they
Yeah,
say things like, when are you going to get married or when are you
yes.
going to have children? But I don't think that they really understand the level of pressure
Mhm.
that they are creating by asking a simple question. Like, just wait until I announce it. When I
Absolutely.
announce it, you'll know it.
Yeah, and behind those questions, there's a story. Like I have my own story. You have your own story. So many other women, people, they have stories. And that question, like, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what any other person has been through, what relationships have ended, if there have been miscarriages, if there's been difficulty having children. You don't know the pain and the story behind the question that you're asking. So I think on both parts, we have to be sensitive because if somebody asks a question and it triggers me, you don't know what the response is going to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I pop off, then I'm going to be wrong.
And you can't assume that my response is going to be my parents' response, because my parents are my parents and I'm not them. So the way they handle things may not be the way that I handle things. They might be a little bit more safe than me. They might
Hello?
be.
Hello? I tell people all the time, I am not elected and consecrated. That's them, okay? Not me.
Didn't
Not
sign up
me.
for it. Didn't
Oh,
sign
no,
up.
no. No, no. No,
I
no.
did not ask for this life. It was
I did not.
given.
And
It
I'm
was
so
given.
grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. But when West Baltimore come out, it's going to be a problem, right?
That is a perfect segue. How was it growing up as a PK, a child of a church as massive and that has as rich history
Yeah.
as Bethel AME? How was that for you?
Girl, it was a time, okay? Like I tell people all the time, like Bethel is one of the best things, that happened to me in my development, in childhood growing up. They were Bethel is family, not were. They are family. Bethel isn't just a building, it's a bond. We had Shalon, like you said, Mama, like we created our family. And I think because I was born there, I have such a love for it. But also it was a lot. Realizing the impact, of the ministry that my parents had and how big it was. It took a second for it to click because I was so young. Um, but definitely a lot of pressure there, but also a lot of support, a lot of love, a lot of correction, a lot of eyes on you, and just trying to find that balance. I think I was trying to find the balance for 26 years. I don't think I ever got it right. Um, but it was a blessing and probably one of the best things for myself and my family.
I love that. not a lot of people can stand to be under the pressure, right? And so I don't think that, again, people understand the pressure that you had to be under to be in the limelight of something so big, and
Yeah,
especially something that you didn't ask for. As children, you go into something because your parents put you in it, but it's not something that you signed up for. But I see that you are doing it well and you were able to navigate it. So I was reading your blog, and so I'm going to tag it so that everybody can go and take their own time to read it.
yeah,
But you wrote a quote. I'm going to read it. It says, "I've become a quiet student of my own mistakes. Life has taught me that when we overcome something, it's not a sign that the transformation is finished. It's an invitation to keep growing, to keep moving forward, one faithful step at a time." And so that's like multi-layered there, right? I want to know, how did you navigate
yeah.
making mistakes um, under that microscope, under the lights, and then also what kept you faithful to keep going? Because a lot of times we say we're going to keep going, but for the people that don't understand what that actually means, like, keep going how? How am I going to keep going?
Yes, yeah.
Tell me.
About it. Yeah, I think in the beginning when it came to me growing and making mistakes, especially being a PK at the church that I was at, I didn't do it well. I internalized a lot. I kept a lot of things within. And when you have a family and that kind of limelight, everything kind of, that happens, you got to keep it within. You keep it in the family, you smile, hi, great to see you. How you doing? Just feeling like you just have to keep everything in. And that is the nature of the beast. Not saying that my parents condoned us, hiding things or not speaking about things because we did talk about things as a family, but not everything can be out in the limelight. Not everything is for everybody. So I think because of the way that, we were raised and being raised in front of people and how big discretion was, I think when it became to my own personal failures, I felt like, oh, we got to keep this in. Oh, we can't really talk about this. So I think I internalized that on so many levels. So much so I was dealing with a lot of personal things. At a very young age, even at 17, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Um, and so walking through that and dealing with that, I had to do a lot of deconstructing of we can't keep this in. We're gonna have to internalize it. We're gonna have to get it out instead of internalizing it. Talking to a therapist changed my life. Being open with my mother and my father changed my life. Like we were all learning about depression and how to navigate these things together. So to answer your question, I didn't do it right at first. I was keeping things within. And I think that's really what taught me and, opened the door for me to really start beginning again and on that journey of transformation that never, ever ends. You never graduate from it. So that would be how I started with the process of going forward. And then to keep going, just realizing that it's transformation is always keep going. It never ends. And just really just realize giving myself grace in that space as well.
I love that. A couple things that you said resonated with me. Number one, I don't think that parents even give us the don't say anything. I think in our community, specifically in the Black community, we just know. It's like the unspoken thing. Things happen, you don't talk about it. You navigate through it.
Yeah.
And I know, for instance, when I went to law school, for instance, I was totally afraid. I didn't tell anybody that I was going to apply because I didn't want anybody to, I guess not to say that anybody would judge me, but I felt like, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to know. And even when I went to take the test, my mother was like, oh, let's tell the world, let's go live. And I was like, girl, no, because
Mhm.
if this goes south, I don't want, and she was like, well, either we're going to trust God or not. And I'm like, baby, you trust him. I trust him,
Yes.
but I want to trust him privately a
I
little
want to
bit
trust him
more.
by myself, okay?
Yes.
Him and I.
Don't need to
That's
know.
it. That's it.
That's it. So I definitely can relate to having boundaries on what we want the world to know. And then I also think that, so I struggle with that, right? So I struggle with the idea of trying to be transparent because oftentimes, especially when I first got married, I felt like I've been set up. And I
Mhm.
felt like I was in a world by myself where like everybody's marriages were perfect. Everybody, all the wives were great. Nobody dealt with anything because everything was quiet.
Mhm.
Specifically in church, it's kind of like you see everybody coming to church, everybody's dressed, they're really, really pretty. And then out of the blue one day, one person is now gone because now they're divorced.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, wait, how did we get here? So like everybody has this silo of silence. And so that was part of the reason that led me to do this Millennial Mrs. podcast because I started talking to people and I started realizing that guess what? I'm not alone. And
Yeah.
apparently there are a lot of people out here in the world that are going through things, but we are going through them kind of in our silos, not necessarily having those safe spaces
Yeah.
where we can say what's going on and it not be a judgment
Mhm.
or a gossip session, but a session where you genuinely are going to get down on your face and pray for me because that is what I need. So I love your strength in that. And then the next thing that you said that resonated was typically in the Black church, we don't do church and therapy. So I
Mhm.
love that we went ahead to therapy.
Mhm. My mother was like, "We're gonna do something about this," because I was a mess, Trinae. Like I was, I wasn't doing well in school. I was withdrawn. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do. I was just stuck in myself and in my mess. And my mother was like, "We gonna do something about this." And one day she was like, "We just gonna call on Jesus, and then we also gonna call a therapist."
That's
And
right.
and that's what we did. Our my school counselor got involved. She referred me to a great therapist, and it really helped me. And I had to thank my parents because we gonna get you some help. Even with all that they had going on, they still saw me, in the midst of everything that they were doing. And I think it's important in the community as we build community to realize that it's okay to be loud even in your failure. And I think that's part of what transparency is saying, hey, listen, I didn't get this right. Hey, listen, I did this. Hey, I'm going through in my marriage. Hey, I'm going through in my singleness. Hey, I'm feeling alone, and that creates community. And it's like a ricochet effect. You said something, now I feel safe. Or my friend said something about her loneliness. Now I know that there's someone to call on. So even in failure, it's an opportunity to make full community.
I could not agree more. That is so powerful. And I think that we have to bring more awareness to the fact that this is needed. I don't think people realize that they're even doing it. I like to believe that people are doing it intentionally. And so we got to bring more awareness to it, creating these safe spaces where people can just
Yeah,
breathe.
just be and breathe. Like if it's not an accomplishment, that's okay. If it's a failure, that's okay. Like we have to normalize sharing when we feel comfortable, our wins, our weaknesses, our failures, because that's when true community can come into play.
And I also think that we have to stop judging levels of winning, right? Because your level of winning may not be my level of winning, but it doesn't mean that it's any less significant just because it doesn't look the same, right? Like what it took for you to do something and what it may take for me to do something may be totally two different things. And that is okay. That's okay.
A win is a win, okay? A win is a win.
A win
We got
is a
some people out here
win.
struggling with depression. It's hard for them to brush their teeth and get in the shower. Today might have been the day that they did it. That is a win.
A
That's
win. A
that's a
win.
win. And other people may not see that as a win, but when you have somebody struggling with something, whether it's grief, depression, anxiety, whatever the case may be, simple things might just be a win. Answering the phone, whatever it may be, a win is a win.
I
And
I
we
could not
normalize
agree more. As a person, I dealt with depression postpartum. I completely understand. Sometimes just getting out of the bed is a win. And even if getting out of the bed means I'm on the edge of the bed, meaning I'm not out the bed. I got out, I'm on top.
You lift yourself up, okay?
Yes.
That's a win. That's a win.
Baby steps. So you said that you dealt with depression from 17. About what age did that begin to subside and you begin to transition into a better place?
I would say probably around, it took me a full year to kind of feel like I was on the other side. Um, I think my symptoms subsided. For a brief period of time, I was on medicine for it because I was in a bad spot. But I think once I started going to therapy, taking the medication, moving my body more, creating a routine for myself. Around my 18th birthday, that was when, things started, to look better. I think it's been a journey for me. I'm 33 now, so I'm not going to say every year was perfect. Um, but I would say that's around the time things started to look up. But going to therapy, and I think now in my 30s, I've realized how much movement helps me. Walking, going to the gym, just simple things, and really being in touch with my body because sometimes part of depression and anxiety is you lose connection with your body and with yourself. And I don't think I really realized that at that young of an age. And now I'm starting to realize the importance of being in touch, not only here, but just physically and mentally with myself.
That's good. That's good. I think I you said something else in your blog and I want to bring that up because it takes me, you said, now here I stand not where I once was. This is kind of going back to what you were just saying about you being 33 now and you not being that 17-year-old. But not yet where I'm going. So this speaks to the fact that even at 33, this is not it. Um, Simply ready to begin again. From unresolved to resolved, from hidden to seen, from hesitant to hopeful. So two questions here. How
Mhm.
how have you navigated being able to be seen in a world where all eyes are on you? And then also, how do you create the narrative for how you want to be seen? Meaning, you being seen as Faith Reid, but not your parents' child.
Yeah,
Like that's a totally different,
totally
like
different
I am
thing.
more than just that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, how do you create that identity separate, still giving honor and respect to them, but creating that identity? And I think from the outside looking in, I would say that maybe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, was it harder because you are local with them, whereas like in comparison where friend Sean is away, you are
Mhm.
here. So how do you create your own lane for who you are and to keep going? Not to
Yeah.
keep going, but to navigate through that.
Today I'm in a space of my life where I've decided to choose growth over perfection. And I've realized that I will never be perfect. I will never meet the standards of the thousands of eyes that have been on myself and my family, my parents, and as a result, me being their child. And I've grown to realize I can't control what other people think of me. I can't control that. The only thing that I can control as a person and as a woman is my own narrative. That's the only thing I can control. When I start spiraling when I try to have control of other people and other things. And if they think, I did something wrong or I said something wrong, or if I don't look pretty enough, or if I'm not skinny enough, struggling with I can't let that worry me. And at one point in time, I really did because I was so overwhelmed with, do I look the part? Is it okay? Just wondering all of these other things and making a conscious decision to choose Growth over perfection has been one thing that has completely changed for me. And that realizing that people will love the God in me, and that's what I focus on presenting and living and, honoring my father and my mother, honoring their ministry, honoring myself, and finding the balance in that. And, recognizing and creating a boundary with people. I tell people all the time, I notice a lot about a person by the way they introduce me. So if somebody was to introduce me as, oh, that's Bishop Reid and Supervisor Reid's daughter, I've started, no, no, no. I have a name.
Mhm.
My name is Faith. I am somebody outside of the label of PK and all of these other things and grew up. I'm someone, I'm someone outside of that, and although it's a major part of me and I will love it for the rest of my days, I am someone outside of that. And I want people to get to know that person. And that's who I present as, and that's who I show up as. So I think having the tenacity and courage to continue to transform and begin again has really caused me to shed the layers of, desiring to fit in and just wanting to show people that you can begin again, you can start over again, and you can be authentically who you are.
I love that. When we think about, you just now said the thing about showing up as, am I good enough, or do I fit the part? What is the part?
That's what I'm saying.
I think
We created these
I was
expectations.
probably that. I think I probably was the most depressed at the point of trying to fit the part. I remember when I turned 30,
Hmm.
on paper, I had everything. And by that, I mean, I had a marriage, I had children, we had our home, financially, we were good, all of those things. But on the inside, I still felt empty.
Yep.
Like money couldn't buy what I felt like I was missing on the inside. So whatever that it factor was, it still had not been found. It still had not been solidified. And so I wonder if we do it to ourselves by expecting this, or society, or what. But whatever it is, we gotta like rip it up, tear it apart, burn it,
That's
because until we live for us, nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to fulfill us until we're literally walking in the path that God created us to walk on. And I love to believe that sometimes we take detours, but I do find, I think that God uses it for his glory, even in the detours that we take.
He always does, like it's been almost 11 years since I wrote my first book. And, I thought I would be somewhere totally different. And that's part of the reason why I wrote my first blog is a letter to my resolution. My first book was Resolution 21 Days to Resolving the Battle Within. And, one thing that I realized that we can't put a timeline on
I
how
wish we could. Why can't we? Why can't we?
I
I want to sign up for the we need a definite timeline,
want it
Faith.
this way, I want it that way.
Yes.
It doesn't work like that. And
I don't
understanding
like it.
I don't like it either, but sometimes, baby, we gotta release the control because, like you said, the detour always gets us to where God has designed us to go, just not the way that we thought it should be. And I think we have to release ourselves from the way that we think it should be, because there is a greater power at work. And that gets us to the scripture that talks about all things, Romans 8:28, all
Oh,
things,
oh,
of them, all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly, the postpartum, the depression, the feeling unfulfilled, all of those things that God, some way, somehow, He works it out for us in our favor and for our betterment. But it's having the tenacity and the will to even keep going when we don't think it looks like what it should. That God has even worked with me, even in the seasons where it didn't look like what I thought it should look like, or what He promised me it would look like.
yeah, that's the part when
Yeah.
it didn't look like. And I think that that's good, because even when it didn't look like the way that I thought that it was going to look, he still never left me.
Never
He
left
was
me.
still there, because
He
he
didn't
has a way of
forget about us.
getting in there with us.
He He'll get right in it.
Mm.
He'll get right in it. And I'm just like, Lord, I'm not gonna let go. This is bumpy, but you got right down there in there with me. And it births something different in you, things that you didn't expect, you know. I started going to school for my master's back in 2019, and then in 2020 I stopped. And I didn't go back, and I thought I would never go back. But now is the time in the season, and I'm going to finish it. And from that has birthed this blog. I never thought I would be blogging. I never thought I would be writing in this way again. So it takes you on different detours and takes you to different places that you never thought you would go. And you become a blessing even in what you thought was a burden.
Now, speaking of, with you doing this master's, do you ever or have you ever felt pressure to go into ministry, um, versus doing like the other things? So
I was,
now, okay,
yeah.
tell us all about it. Tell us all about
I
it.
was in ministry. I want to say it was about maybe 2012, around the time that I was in college. Um, I was preaching. I was doing all the things, Janae. I was doing it. Um,
Now, did you feel like pressure led you there? Um, or do you feel like it was just a natural progression for you? And where is it now?
I think it was my own personal pressure.
Okay.
My father specifically, he never forced me or anything like that. I felt like at the time I needed to do something with my life. And I felt that there was a call on my life. But I think I jumped into it a little too soon. And I still feel like there's a call on my life, but I think I know my ministry is through my writing, and through how I show up for people. I have a strong ministry of support. And I had to realize that my ministry may not look like what my mother's does or what my father's does. And so I've embraced that. And so I'll still, I see this as ministry. I see going on podcasts and, speaking at other women empowerment events, or, I see that as ministry. And so I know that it's pivoted, but I've never given up the call on my life. And I'm always going to talk about how God restored me and how God changed me. It just may not be over a pulpit.
I love that. I think that um funny because we're on the Millennial Mrs. podcast, but I think that millennials are 100% defining new ways
Hmm.
to spread the word. And it does not look like the traditional Sunday morning, Wednesday evening Bible study, church lock-ins. I often think about like as a kid, and I do think that my kids are missing that, but like I think about like the shut-ins and
Yes.
like the stuff that the church retreat, the youth retreats and things like that. And I do think that they are needed, right? I do think that they were beneficial. But I think that like we are in a world where we gotta like move with times and get creative with ways that we are spreading the gospel. And we also have to get out of God's way, like get out of his way, because I feel like we sometimes get in his way by trying to put him in a box of it can only happen one way.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that I always remind myself and I remind others when I hear them criticize things, God didn't just sit in a church. God went from town to town delivering people, healing people. And so he did that purposely. If he only wanted to be around church people, if he only wanted to be in the synagogue, if he only wanted to be in church, he would have never went to all of these different places. So that tells me that one, he was okay with going out evangelizing. And so we have to be okay with evangelizing. And as life progresses, that will look different.
It
We may
will.
not be going door to door, but you may be on a podcast reaching the same amount of people
Yeah, this is
that
peak
you,
evangelism.
yes, we are saving souls. That is the goal for sure. So on your podcast, you talked about, you said, but personality can only carry you so far. Purpose, on the other hand, sustains you. Purpose preserves you when motivation fades and when applause gets quiet. I like this because a lot of times people get in position, but they don't stay in position. And they can't stay in position because what they did to get in position was not sustainable. And
Mm.
so when it gets quiet, when people aren't pumping it up, when people aren't, the motivation from others is not there. I mean, you just summed it up so well. I love that. So tell me, how do you separate the personality that others expect from you in order to find your own voice? And how has that turned into not just your purpose, but how are you helping others find their purpose through your ministry, through this?
I think it just goes back to, it sounds so cliche, but just remembering why you do what you do.
Mhm.
And just going back to your why and going back to your resolve and to yourself, whatever that is, whether it be your family, whether that be showing people that it's never too late to start over, you have to go back to what got you started and also what keeps you going. Personality and speaking engagements and all of those things, that can come to a stop. It can come to a stop. And so, I have to, even within myself, I had to realize like when things and the applause and the noise, all those things stop, that don't mean you stop. That don't mean you give up. That don't mean you stop encouraging people. Like it shouldn't just require applause and praise. And this is great work, but also it's deep and hard and it can get dirty, it can get rough work. And so you have to go back to what kept you start, why you do this, and that will fuel you to keep going and to never stop. And even it's okay to take a break. I took a very, very long break. And that was, me being like you in the blog where it talks about I've been a student of my silence. And I had to learn in the silence and listen in the silence to myself and not to what I thought other people wanted from me. And that was so important for me.
That's hard because we live in a world where the likes rule the world.
It's these phones, girl. It's these phones.
How many likes did you get? How many views did you get? How many comments did you get? Because if I don't get as many comments as you, then I must wasn't saying something.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
come on now,
yeah.
everybody. And
That
then
goes back to validation.
yes, and then we live in a popularity contest where if I like you, I'm gonna like what you have to say, even if I don't even know what you said because I didn't even listen, but I'm gonna like it because I like you.
Hmm.
And I do think that that's a difference. So I recently went to this event and it was a women's empowerment event. And at the end of the event, so we made flowers. I'm not a flower girl. I'm not. So I think that flowers are beautiful, right? I don't think that flowers smell good.
Okay.
And I think that flowers die. And I think that I can make a better use of the money buying me a cake,
Felt.
or bag, either or. Either or. I'll take either. Early on in my relationship, I want to say he was still my boyfriend or maybe fiance. Then my husband brought me a charm of flowers because the flowers will always die. He would buy flowers and they would die. But he brought me a charm and it was a flower. And he said, this was so that the flowers will never die. And it was like, oh my God, this is the sweetest thing ever because it's like thought in it, right?
Very, very thoughtful.
But just don't buy me flowers. I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers.
I
But
feel
we made flowers. It was very cute. We gave the flowers, and then we decided we were gonna like marry ourselves and make a vow to ourselves. And so you talked about at the end, you did a vow to yourself.
Mhm.
And it was sort of kind of continuation. Go read the blog and then get the book so you can understand where the blog comes from in continuation from the book.
Thank you, sir.
But we need both. You got to do both. But you talked about doing this, you did this vow to yourself, and I loved it because we sat down and we had to do a vow to ourselves. And I'm going to be very honest, I couldn't even do my vow there because I wanted to think about it. I wanted to be intentional about the vow that I set for myself. So I listened to everybody else's, which were great, but I made a note to myself, I'm going to do this in my prayer time for
Absolutely.
two reasons. Um, Oftentimes, we sometimes do things in a rushed way, and then hindsight is always 2020. We look
Yeah.
back and we be like, "Oh, I wish I could have done this differently." And so I wanted to be intentional about what I was vowing to myself, but
Mhm.
then more importantly, I wanted to invite God in to
Absolutely.
show me um, what I should be vowing to myself because I felt like I've done this before. Maybe not outright, but I feel like I've promised myself before and I haven't necessarily maybe remained true to that and or aligned it with what his will is for my life.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I wanted to be intentional about that. But I loved your vow that you decided to do to yourself. Walk me down the road of you deciding to do the vow and all of the things.
Trinae, as women, we do a lot of keeping our word for other people in our lives.
Hmm.
We keep our word to our family. We keep our word to our friends. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to show up. I've been knowing you all my life. If you say you're going to do something, you show up. Most women are very loyal beings. And if we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. But one thing I've noticed, even with myself, other women in my life, my mom, her and I were talking about this. A lot of women, me included, have such a hard time keeping our word to ourselves.
Hmm.
And I realized how many times I had let myself down
Hmm.
versus how many times I had showed up for other people and kept my word. And I got to thinking, I said, as I was thinking to myself, I realized I had let myself down. And I think about that inner voice, our inner child, our little girl within us, saying, whatever it is, I'm going to work out more, or I'm going to be more intentional with myself, whatever it is that you've said to yourself. And how many times I said, okay, I can do this another day. I
Hmm.
can put this off. I can, and realizing the impact of, I had to look at it from outside of myself, like how hurt another person would feel if I said I was going to do something and I didn't do it. But why don't I take that seriously when I say I'm going to do something for myself and I don't do that? And so I had to sit with myself and the sadness in myself and realize part of that was because I wasn't keeping my word to myself, to that little girl inside of me that I've been learning to pick up and, hold and, do the things that my inner child has always wanted to do that I've neglected even in adulthood. And so that vow really came from a place I'm serious about keeping my word to myself. Like if I say I'm going to do something, if I need to rest, if I need to exercise, if I need to take some whatever it is, and realizing how important it is to keep my word to myself because I don't deserve to let myself down.
I
The
love that. I think that we as women sometimes feel like it's selfish to put us first and to do the things that we need to do for us. I always say that the instructions on the plane, when they say to tell parents you put the oxygen on yourself before you do it to your children, I think that that is way more powerful than we give it credit because
Mhm.
we can't show up for other people if we aren't ourselves good.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
gotta pour into ourselves.
Yeah. I have to be my best self in order to be present for everyone else and to the mom, to the single woman, to the wife, the millennial, whatever millennial person you are in this world. And even if you're not, start keeping your word to yourself because that letdown is just, it adds up. And so it's important to do what you said you were going to do for yourself, no matter how big, no matter how small. keep your word to yourself. And this blog was part of me keeping my word to myself because I knew that there was something inside of me that I had been holding on to that somebody needed to hear, even if it was one person, even if it was three people. I wasn't even going to release it when I did yesterday, but I was like, Faith, go ahead and do it. Just publish it. If you only get one like, that's okay. If you get 1,000 like, that's so. I just want one person to be better and to know that you can start over at whatever stage of your life. And so keeping my word to myself has developed consistency in all levels, in all areas around me, and just doing, I'm gonna do what I said I'm gonna do. And everyone deserves
Girl.
to do that.
Listen, one of the things that I know is that the Lord will give you something and you'll be like, say what now? You want me to do it when? That don't even align with what I really want to do, but I
Get
get
somebody else to do it.
somebody else to do it.
Get somebody else to do it. Yes, yes, yes.
I don't like it. So speaking of vows to others, I know you said that before you envisioned that you would have been married now. So are you dating? What's the dating pool like? Do you aspire to be married? What do you aspire today now that you see the shift? Where you at, girl?
I am dating my degree at this moment.
And
I
nothing is wrong with it.
am dating my degree. I would say that, I am not opposed to dating. I am open for the right person.
Well,
Um,
who's the right person? What are the qualifications? Break it down.
I got a lot. I mean, someone that is intentional, understanding, kind, fine, got their own. He got to have his own coin, you know, does what they say he gonna do. All of the things. Like I require simple things, but I've noticed even the simplest things, like planning a date, are very difficult for some of these men to do. And follow through is very difficult. So I'm just like, we're going to see. Um,
Okay.
I really would, I wouldn't mind dating, but my focus has been on this degree. Um,
Nothing is wrong with that. Um, but for my millennial misses and everybody that is watching, if you guys have that good old brother that meets the qualifications, only come if they meet the qualifications, okay? Only if they have the qualifications. Remember, she said fine, understanding,
I gotta love the Lord.
coin. What was the other one?
They gotta love the Lord.
Love the Lord, child.
Like to travel.
Like, well, that's also a part of having the coin because there's an expectation here.
And they're not married.
But do we have to say that?
These married men be acting like they're not married, and I'll be confused. What is going on with this? What is
Girl,
happening?
girl, trying to
It's
shoot a
nasty
shot.
out here. It's nasty out here, Trinae. It's nasty.
I saw this thing on social media and it said that the water had piss in it.
Mm-hmm. Amongst other things, but I'm not going to cuss on here because I know the Lord. But
But it got it in there. It got it in there.
it's in there. It's really in
Now, and I've also heard that the church saints are the worst saints.
child. Really have to go. The stories, okay? Let's go to lunch. Yeah, and also I'm looking for a soft place to land. That would be nice in my next relationship. Just a soft, gentle, space.
You want to be in your soft girl era.
I would love to. I really would love to because in my daily life, I always got to figure out things and, problem solve. And it would be nice to just not have to do that sometimes. It would be
Now,
great.
do you think that men are intimidated because of your last name and who you are?
I think I think that's a possibility, but if they are, that's not the right man for me.
Then there's that. Then
Yeah,
there is that.
I
So
understand that it can be intimidating, but you know, I would be taking my man last name. So what would we intimidated for?
I love it. So, ladies, when we are talking to our brothers, make sure they know we don't have time for the intimidation.
Mhm.
She didn't ask for this life. The life was just given to
No, they're
her.
family. They're funny, hilarious. Come on over here. We have a time. We really good.
You'll love it over there. And don't want to leave. Now, Faith, do you cook?
I do. I do. I actually, that's been one of my hobbies lately. Like
Okay,
put something on
what's
the
your go-to
stove.
dish?
You know, I
Tell me
love
what you
I
do.
love to put something on the stove, okay? I love it,
Okay.
you know. I make a okay, so I learned how to make my mother's dressing. Like I was in charge of Thanksgiving this year, okay? Like
What?
I did the dressing, I did the greens, I did everything but the mac and cheese. I'm real scared of that. You know, that's
Okay,
my
so wait,
favorite
was
anyway.
Thanksgiving? You did Thanksgiving at your home? Where was Thanksgiving at? Who
It was
came?
at our family house. It was here in Baltimore. All the people. I was assigned to it, and it was me
Okay.
and my mother in that kitchen. Okay, I
Okay.
trusted sous chef. I was in charge of everything but the mac and cheese. So I
So
could
did she do the mac and cheese?
yes, she did because I have we black and the
And
mac
guess
and
what?
cheese.
You gotta be a certain age to do the macaroni and
Hello,
cheese, they say.
I'm a firm believer in that. But like yesterday, I made some northern beans and I did some turkey wings. I put them in the crock pot. I deboned them. I did greens with that. You know, I love to cook it all. I really do.
Fancy.
I really do. So yeah, I could cook. I enjoy cleaning, you know. I really love the whole domesticated. Like I would love to be. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I don't. Just let me run my private practice on the side and see my clients back. And listen, okay?
The rest is taken care of.
Okay, the rest is taken care of, boo. I got you.
Cooking and cleaning. I
Okay.
love it. They say cooking, cleaning ain't a thing.
It's not a thing. I don't have no problem with that. I don't. I don't.
Okay. So I've grown to I don't have a problem with clean cooking. I really don't have a problem with cooking, but cleaning, but with kids,
Yeah, that's a
listen,
whole other
get me
piece.
a cleaning person, please
Yeah,
and thank you. I can straighten up before the cleaning people come, but I need cleaning people.
yeah. Mhm.
It's my life. I'm
I
tired.
I call cleaning people, honey. Yeah, I need it. I don't even have no kids. Don't
Exactly.
nobody. I'm helping. Please, please. You got to know when to ask for help.
Yes, and I think I'm going to be very honest. I think that that is the highest form of self-love. Not
Mhm.
taking on the pressure of feeling like you have to do everything. There
Yeah,
are perfectly good people who can do the things that you need to be done, and it does not devalue you as a wife, as a mom, as a woman, as any of the things.
it takes the load off of you. Listen, I know
Yes.
saying, God won't put more on you than you can bear. I'm not going to put more on me than I can bear. So I'm going to
Mm.
ask me for some help. I cannot do this. I am at capacity. That's one thing even watching my mother growing up, she had no all the time. That's just too much.
Not gonna do it.
Mm-mm.
Not.
No, there's power in your no.
And it's okay to say no, and that is a complete sentence.
It is. It is. Like I don't have to explain my no.
Mm-mm. I'm working on that. I am because I'm a person that, number one, I'm a fixer.
Hmm.
So when people tell me that they have a problem, I immediately probably put myself in it to try to fix it. And then I am also like, I don't like telling people no. And like, oddly enough, I feel like I'm starting to have to do the no's now. Okay, I'm an attorney now, but I've only been an attorney for like a hot minute. But the
Yeah.
amount of phone calls that I get every single day to like do something is kind of like it's overwhelming. And not in a ungrateful way, right? But
Mhm.
in a yeah, I'm overwhelmed. Not
And-
today.
Yeah.
Not
And it's
today.
and your no protects you.
Okay.
You are your first line of defense.
Mm,
So if you are consistently adding on, adding on, adding, you're not protecting yourself.
mm-mm.
Like you have to protect yourself in your space. And sometimes that requires saying no. That may require saying not right now. Can we put this off for another time? No, it's not a bad word.
I love that. I love
It's
that.
fire.
So tell me, if you could go back to your childhood self, um, I'd like to probably go. I was about to say, I normally say your 18-year-old self. We kind of talked about your 18-year-old self, so I feel like your 18-year-old self was probably really, really good. So maybe if we could go back to 16, maybe before the depression really hit, if you go back to your 16-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Wow. I would tell her you're going to really love yourself one day. I did not like myself when I was my teenage years. Um, Growing up plus size, especially in the, 2008, 2009, it really wasn't a thing. It wasn't accepted. It wasn't as accepted as it is now, and even is still a struggle. And so I would tell 16-year-old Faye, just hold on, you're going to really love yourself one day, and that it's really going to be okay, and that you're going to like what you see. And you're going to like who's looking back at you. And just reassuring her, that you will love yourself one day. And I think that's what made the difference as I got older. I started to love myself.
I think that that is absolutely great. I think that this goes without saying, but you are absolutely beautiful inside and out. I think that there is something to be said about a person who, I think that your spirit is infectious, meaning anybody that comes around you, you will light up a room, and not just with your smile, but I think that you give a level of genuineness that seeps through, that is not always there. And so I love that you were able to learn to love yourself and to see yourself in that lens, because I'm sure that growing up, many people told you you were beautiful and all of the things, but until you see it and feel it yourself, it's just totally different. So I love that you are here and that you can see that and you can see you for exactly who you are. That's great.
Sis,
So I'm gonna add your book here so that everybody can grab the book. Everybody can come and follow you on social media. Leave her alone right now, guys, until she finishes school. When are you finished?
girl, I got a whole nother year, so please bother me. Listen, I'm here to, this is my season to just release what God has given me, do my degree. Like I'm ready to balance. I had that season of silence. And now I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to connect with people. I'm ready to show people that it's never too late to begin again. So please subscribe to the blog. I'm actually in reprint right now for my book. So you can hit me up on my social media or my website, and I will absolutely send a book. I am underscore Faith Reid, Reid on Instagram. Uh, yeah. And I have my Substack information. I'll send that to you on the link. I just created it yesterday, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know about heart.
It is fine. We're going to have all of that tagged below. So be sure to do that and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe and comment and just flood Faith with all the support and encouragement during this time. I want to thank you again for coming to be a guest on the Millennial Mrs. podcast. Your story is going to change lives, and I'm just glad that I could create this space for you to share with everybody. So thank you again.
You for this community in this space. I've had such an amazing time with you tonight. Like it's been amazing. I feel like I'm on FaceTime with my sisters. So we have been just talking and yapping it up, and I'm just so excited, and I'm so proud of you. Like watching you and your mother, Dr. Like y'all really, I'll be like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. Like y'all inspire me and every day. So I just want to say thank you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Until next time, guys, we will see you next time.
Bye.